Hello Drone Racers, I'm Mark, and today on Drone Racer 101 we're going to take a look at what I did to my poor Hawk and maybe how to fix it. Did you see what happened when I tried to modify the Hawk 5?
Once it gets down a little bit, it's alright. Oops.
Yeah, I stuffed it. Now I just have axe motors. So I'm going to have to get this all cleaned out. This is part of the problem with these open bottoms. Now just mud, it's just caked full of mud at this point. So I'm going to start by taking off the props and we'll see really how bad it is. Back ones seem to be okay. Yeah, that one's fine. It's just the front ones. Okay, so let's get these off. I'll just take all 4 props off because I'm not going to use these props anymore. So the question is, am I going to have to wash them or not? This one is definitely going to need to wash. There's no way I can get in there and get that all cleaned off properly. This one looks like it's probably the same way. Next step is to actually take the motor off of the arms. Now what I want to be careful of is I don't want to scratch the wires here. These wires are actually all covered in an insulating material, and that's probably the most important part of this. You don't want to scratch that off because that will rust and corrode and start to go bad, and bad things happen then. Gotta clean my bench. This next step may surprise some of you. So I'm going to try and get the water, get the mud softened up. Hopefully it'll just come out with a little bit of pressure. What I'm going to try and do, be very careful not to get any of the rest of the electronics wet. The motors don't care. The motors are pretty much naturally waterproof. Except the bearings a little bit, but other than that, we don't really care. So in this case, I was able to get my motors totally clean without having to take them apart. Sometimes you may actually have to go in and take apart the motor to get it cleaned out, and I've had to do that before, but we'll save that for another video. In this case, I wanted to get this done so I could move on and test something else with this. So next I'll show you how I dry them off, but we need to attach them back to the frame first. Okay, I pulled out my smoke stopper just in case for this, but I've got a battery hooked up. So I can actually feel the water flying off my motors, which is exactly what I want. So the smoke stopper is doing what it's supposed to do. It's limiting the voltage because I don't want it to go crazy, and if a drop does get in there and short out, the light will come on and prevent extra damage. It also lets me turn it off really fast if I need to. But now I've probably thrown all the water I'm going to out of those motors. Now I'll just let them dry the rest of the way naturally. Then I'll take it outside, but there we go. That's all we really need for this one. You do want to make sure there's not enough water that you don't throw the water inside your components, because that would be bad, especially if you had them reversed. Then it would be even worse. You'd be throwing more water inside your components, and you don't want to do that. So do this at your own risk. You can also use a hair dryer to dry things out. Some people talked about using alcohol. I think that's overload. You don't really need that for the motors. There are bearings in here that if you want to add a little bearing lube, that's okay too. But really, most of these, if you get them wet, you're not going to hurt them. So if you found this useful, leave a like and a comment down below, and stay tuned for more Hawk 5 videos because that was done in a rush so I could do another test with these today. But until next time, remember, Emacs would probably prefer if I showed it this way.